Have you ever wondered why some people seem to move forward in life with purpose, clarity, and momentum, while others feel stuck, repeating the same patterns day after day? The difference isn't luck, talent, or intelligence. The difference is one simple thing: daily habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of our lives. They shape our decisions, our focus, and ultimately our destiny. And among all habits, there is one daily habit that has the power to transform your life more than any other: reflective journaling. Before you dismiss it as just writing in a notebook, hear me out. Reflective journaling is not about recording what happened today. It's about understanding why it happened, what you felt, what you learned, and what you want to do differently tomorrow. It's about creating a dialogue with yourself, a conscious awareness of your own thoughts and actions. When you commit to this habit, something remarkable happens. You start to notice patterns, both empowering and limiting, in your life. You begin to recognize the small decisions that lead to progress and the tiny missteps that derail you. You gain clarity about your goals and alignment between your actions and your values. Reflective journaling is like having a personal coach available 24/7. It teaches you to take responsibility for your choices, to understand your emotions, and to plan your actions with intentionality. It strengthens your ability to focus, to solve problems, and to embrace challenges with resilience. Over time, you are not just living, you are consciously designing your life. Now, some of you might think, I don't have time, but consider this. 5 minutes a day is all it takes. 5 minutes to pause, to write, to reflect. 5 minutes to redirect your energy from reactive habits to purposeful habits. It's an investment in yourself that compounds exponentially over time. The power of this habit lies in its simplicity and consistency. Small daily actions, repeated consistently, build momentum that creates extraordinary outcomes. The person you will become in 1 year is the result of the habits you practice today. And reflective journaling is the key habit that illuminates your path, keeps you accountable, and unlocks the potential within you. If you commit to this practice, you will see changes in your clarity, your confidence, your focus, and your ability to navigate life's challenges. You will no longer feel like a passenger in your own life. You will become the driver, intentionally steering toward the life you want. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one conscious action, one reflective thought, and one daily habit at a time. And reflective journaling is the habit that can start that transformation today. 5 keynotes of the speech: daily habits shape your life more than talent or luck. Reflective journaling is the most powerful habit for self-awareness and growth. Consistency, even in small daily actions, compounds into extraordinary results. Self-reflection allows you to identify patterns, take responsibility, and align actions with values. Transformation is the result of intentional habits. Practice daily, not sudden change. When we look at people who achieve remarkable things in life, there is a natural tendency to attribute their success to talent, intelligence, or sheer luck. We tell ourselves they were born with a gift, or they had the right opportunity at the right time. While talent and circumstances do play a role, they are far from the decisive factor. What truly determines the trajectory of our lives is not the brilliance of our natural abilities, nor the randomness of opportunity. It is the habits we cultivate every single day. The way we act on a small scale, consistently and repeatedly, shapes the person we become more than any innate gift or stroke of luck ever could. Consider this: a talented musician who never practices will never master an instrument, no matter how gifted they are. Similarly, a person born into favorable circumstances who squanders their days on distraction or indecision may never reach their potential. On the other hand, an ordinary individual, one without extraordinary talent, can accomplish remarkable things through the compounding effect of daily habits. Habits are the repeated actions, small decisions, and routines that define our character, our mindset, and ultimately our outcomes. They are the quiet architects of success, often unnoticed until the results manifest in our lives. The power of daily habits lies in their cumulative nature. Each day, each small choice, whether to wake up early, to read, to exercise, to reflect, or to practice a skill, may seem insignificant in isolation. Yet, when performed consistently over weeks, months, and years, these actions accumulate into results that far exceed the effect of talent alone. One person might spend 10 minutes a day practicing a skill, while another spends years relying solely on their natural abilities. Over time, the consistent effort will almost always surpass raw talent because it builds not only competence, but also discipline, resilience, and confidence. These are qualities that no natural ability can replace and that luck alone cannot provide. Daily habits also shape the way we think and respond to the world. If we cultivate habits of curiosity, learning, and reflection, we develop a mindset that seeks solutions instead of dwelling on problems. If we cultivate habits of kindness, gratitude, and listening, we strengthen our relationships and create environments that foster opportunity. On the other hand, habits of procrastination, negativity, or avoidance gradually erode our potential, regardless of how talented we might be. In this sense, habits are not just about what we do, they are about who we become. Another important aspect is the way habits reduce reliance on willpower. Talent is unpredictable, and luck is uncontrollable. Willpower is finite and inconsistent, often failing under pressure or stress. Habits, however, automate our best behaviors. When positive actions become ingrained, we no longer need to rely solely on motivation or chance. They happen naturally without effort every day. This automation is what allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. We can see this principle in countless examples across fields. Athletes who reach the pinnacle of their sport rarely do so because they are inherently stronger or faster. They reach it because they commit to the discipline of daily practice, refinement, and repetition. Writers, entrepreneurs, and leaders often succeed not because they were born smarter or luckier than anyone else, but because they consistently do the work day in and day out, building skills, relationships, and knowledge that compound over time. Their habits, small, consistent actions repeated daily, become the foundation upon which extraordinary achievements are built. Ultimately, the lesson is clear: success is not a sudden gift. It is a process, and that process is governed by the habits we embrace. Talent may open a door, luck may present an opportunity, but it is the daily choices, the repeated actions taken without fanfare, that determine who we become and what we achieve. Every day is a chance to practice, to refine, to learn, and to grow. Every decision, no matter how small, is a vote for the person you are becoming. Over time, those votes accumulate, shaping your identity, your capabilities, and your destiny far more reliably than natural ability or random fortune ever could. The question is not whether you are talented or lucky. The question is what habits you are choosing to cultivate today and whether they align with the life you want to live tomorrow. The small, consistent actions you take now are the real architects of your future. They are the bridge between who you are and who you have the potential to become. Reflective journaling is far more than simply putting words on paper. It is a disciplined practice that allows you to step outside of the chaos of daily life and examine your thoughts, feelings, and actions with clarity. At first, it may feel awkward or unnecessary, especially in a world that values speed, productivity, and instant results. But the power of reflective journaling lies in its ability to transform your understanding of yourself and the way you navigate the world. When done consistently, it becomes a mirror through which you see not just who you are, but who you are capable of becoming. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth. You cannot improve what you do not understand, and you cannot change what you do not notice. Reflective journaling creates a dedicated space for noticing, the space where you can examine the patterns of your thoughts, recognize recurring behaviors, and uncover the emotions that drive your decisions. For example, when faced with challenges, many of us act on autopilot, reacting out of habit, fear, or impulse. Journaling allows you to pause and ask, why did I respond this way? What was I feeling in that moment? What can I do differently next time? Over time, these reflections reveal insights that are impossible to gain from simply going through life passively. What makes journaling particularly powerful is that it forces honesty. When you write your thoughts down, you confront them in a tangible form. You can no longer ignore the feelings, excuses, or rationalizations that shape your behavior. This confrontation, though sometimes uncomfortable, is necessary for growth. By seeing your patterns on the page, you gain clarity about the choices that move you forward and those that hold you back. You learn to recognize triggers, biases, and blind spots, which equips you with the tools to make better decisions in the future. Moreover, reflective journaling strengthens your ability to process experiences. Life is full of successes, failures, and moments of uncertainty, and it is easy for our minds to either gloss over lessons or dwell excessively on mistakes. Journaling creates a structured way to process events. It allows you to capture the lessons hidden in setbacks, celebrate progress that might otherwise go unnoticed, and articulate your goals in a way that is actionable. By regularly writing about your experiences, you turn the raw material of life into insights that guide your next steps. Another aspect of reflective journaling is its impact on emotional intelligence. When you reflect on your thoughts and emotions, you develop a deeper understanding of yourself, which naturally extends to understanding others. You begin to notice patterns in how you react to people, situations, and stress. You become more empathetic, patient, and intentional in your interactions. The habit of journaling trains your mind to observe without judgment, to identify root causes instead of blaming circumstance, and to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. This is the essence of emotional intelligence, which is a critical factor in personal and professional success. Reflective journaling also fosters consistency and accountability. By recording your goals, progress, and daily actions, you create a record of your journey. You see where you are succeeding, where you are falling short, and how small changes accumulate over time. This habit makes your growth visible, measurable, and tangible. You no longer rely on vague intentions or fleeting motivation. Instead, you cultivate a system that keeps you aligned with your aspirations. Finally, the transformative nature of journaling is amplified by its simplicity and accessibility. You do not need expensive tools, complex programs, or specialized knowledge. All that is required is a notebook, a pen, and a few focused minutes each day. It is a small investment with an exponential return. Each entry, each reflection, each observation builds self-awareness, discipline, and clarity, creating a momentum that carries forward into every area of life. Over time, the practice of journaling transforms not only your understanding of yourself, but also your ability to take intentional, meaningful action in the world. Reflective journaling is not a quick fix or a temporary experiment. It is a lifelong habit that sharpens your mind, clarifies your purpose, and deepens your understanding of both yourself and the world around you. When embraced consistently, it becomes a personal compass, guiding every decision, every action, and every goal with intention and insight. Consistency is one of those principles that sounds simple but is often misunderstood. Many people assume that extraordinary results require extraordinary effort or rare bursts of inspiration. They look for shortcuts, magic formulas, or sudden breakthroughs that will instantly change their lives. The truth is far more powerful and far more attainable. Success is rarely the result of a single monumental action. Instead, it is the accumulation of small intentional actions performed consistently over time. It is the daily decisions, the repeated habits, and the persistent focus that compound into outcomes that appear extraordinary from the outside. Think about it like planting a seed. One seed in the ground will not produce a tree overnight. It requires regular care, water, and sunlight. Day after day, week after week, the seed grows slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. But over months and years, that consistent attention transforms into a strong tree capable of bearing fruit. Life works in exactly the same way. The small actions you take every day, reading, reflecting, practicing, connecting with others, taking care of your body and mind, may seem minor or even insignificant in the moment. But repeated consistently, they create a foundation for remarkable growth and achievement. Consistency also creates momentum. When you practice a skill daily, your proficiency increases incrementally. When you pursue a goal consistently, your progress compounds, even if you cannot see it immediately. Each day of effort builds upon the last, creating a chain of progress that becomes unstoppable over time. The problem is that most people give up too soon, expecting immediate results and judging their efforts by instant outcomes rather than by the long-term trajectory. The power of consistency is invisible at first, but it is steady, relentless, and cumulative. Those who stick with it, who persist day after day, eventually reach a point where their results accelerate, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Another reason consistency is so transformative is that it strengthens character. Showing up every day, even when you do not feel like it, builds discipline, resilience, and self-trust. You begin to believe not only in the possibility of your goals, but also in your ability to achieve them through persistent effort. This inner confidence becomes a multiplier, enabling you to tackle challenges, overcome obstacles, and stay committed even when the path is difficult. Without consistency, talent can be wasted, ideas can remain unrealized, and opportunities can slip away. With consistency, however, even modest abilities and ordinary ideas can produce extraordinary outcomes. Consistency also reduces the burden of decision-making. When you establish daily habits, you automate the actions that matter most. You no longer rely on fluctuating motivation or willpower, which are finite and unreliable. By creating routines and sticking to them, you remove friction from your life and ensure that your priorities are addressed consistently. Over time, this not only improves efficiency, but also frees mental energy for more strategic thinking and higher-level decision-making. The principle of compounding applies not only to skills and productivity, but also to mindset and relationships. Small, consistent efforts to be kind, attentive, or empathetic in your interactions build trust and strengthen connections. Simple daily practices like gratitude, reflection, or setting intentions shape your perspective, gradually making you more focused, resilient, and purposeful. In all aspects of life, consistent small actions accumulate into results far greater than any single dramatic effort could achieve. We can see countless examples of consistency in action. Athletes train daily, often in repetition and monotony, until their skill becomes instinctive. Writers commit to a set number of words each day, even when inspiration does not strike, and over time they produce books that impact millions. Entrepreneurs work on their vision day by day, steadily building businesses from the ground up. In every case, the common denominator is not luck or sudden genius. It is the relentless application of effort over time. Consistency is also deeply empowering because it places the control of progress firmly in your hands. You cannot control every external factor, every opportunity, or every outcome. You cannot guarantee luck, but you can control what you do today, what you practice, and how faithfully you execute your habits. By focusing on daily actions and maintaining consistency, you create a reliable pathway toward extraordinary results, independent of circumstances or external validation. Every small step, when repeated with intention, adds to a cumulative impact that far exceeds initial expectations. Life does not reward sporadic effort or occasional bursts of energy. It rewards persistence, dedication, and the quiet power of doing what matters most day after day without fail. The compounding effect of consistent action transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, and over time, it becomes the most reliable path to success, growth, and fulfillment. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools available to anyone who desires to grow, improve, and lead a life of intention. It is the deliberate act of examining your thoughts, actions, and experiences to uncover the underlying patterns that shape your behavior. Most people move through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances, external pressures, and fleeting emotions without ever pausing to consider why they make the choices they do. Self-reflection interrupts that cycle. It provides a mirror that reveals your habits, your tendencies, and the ways in which your actions either support or undermine the life you want to live. The first and most profound impact of self-reflection is the ability to identify patterns. Our behaviors, both conscious and unconscious, tend to repeat themselves over time. Without reflection, these patterns remain hidden, and we continue to make the same mistakes, repeat unhelpful habits, and experience similar challenges over and over again. Through self-reflection, however, we bring these patterns into awareness by asking questions like, why did I react that way? Or what recurring choices are leading to this outcome? We uncover the cycles that govern our life. This awareness is transformative because recognizing a pattern is the first step toward changing it. When you see your tendencies clearly, you gain the power to choose differently, to interrupt negative cycles, and to reinforce positive ones. Self-reflection also cultivates responsibility. It is easy to blame external factors for the difficulties we encounter. Circumstances, other people, or luck often appear to dictate our outcomes. But true growth comes when we acknowledge the role we play in shaping our own lives. Reflection forces us to consider not only what happened, but also how our own choices, attitudes, and actions contributed to the result. This is not about self-criticism or dwelling on mistakes. It is about ownership. By taking responsibility for our decisions, we regain control over our future. We stop being passive participants and become active architects of our own destiny. This mindset shift from blaming external factors to owning our actions is fundamental to personal and professional growth. Beyond identifying patterns and taking responsibility, self-reflection helps us align our actions with our values. Many people live lives in which daily behaviors are disconnected from their deeper principles and aspirations. They chase goals dictated by social expectation, habit, or convenience rather than by what truly matters to them. Reflection allows us to pause and ask, do my actions reflect who I want to be? And are my decisions in harmony with my values? This alignment is critical because long-term fulfillment and success are rarely achieved through actions that contradict our core beliefs. When we live in alignment with our values, every decision, every choice, and every habit becomes a source of energy and clarity rather than stress or conflict. Another important dimension of self-reflection is learning from experience. Life presents us with successes, failures, challenges, and unexpected outcomes. If we fail to reflect, experiences pass without leaving lessons. Reflection allows us to extract meaning from every situation. We can analyze what worked, what didn't, and why, giving us insights that guide future decisions. Over time, this habit of reflection transforms experience into wisdom. The knowledge gained from self-reflection is far more durable and actionable than passive observation or trial and error. Self-reflection also enhances emotional intelligence. By examining our feelings and reactions, we begin to understand the triggers, biases, and beliefs that shape our behavior. This awareness allows us to respond to situations more intentionally rather than react impulsively. It also strengthens empathy as we learn to see the consequences of our actions on others and recognize the complexity of human behavior. By cultivating self-awareness through reflection, we create a foundation for more thoughtful communication, stronger relationships, and better decision-making. Finally, self-reflection is a practice that strengthens over time. Like any skill, it requires consistency and patience. Daily or regular reflection, even for a few minutes, builds a habit of conscious awareness. Journaling, asking reflective questions, or simply pausing to consider your day can create a powerful routine that continually deepens understanding and fosters growth. This habit transforms the way you navigate life, making you more intentional, resilient, and capable of achieving goals that truly matter. Through self-reflection, we become aware of our patterns, take responsibility for our actions, and ensure that our choices align with our deepest values. It is a habit that empowers, clarifies, and guides, creating the internal framework necessary for personal transformation and meaningful achievement. Transformation is a concept that many people think of as dramatic, sudden, or even miraculous. We imagine it as an overnight shift, a breakthrough moment when life suddenly aligns and everything changes. The reality, however, is far more subtle, far more consistent, and far more within our control. True transformation does not occur through grand gestures or fleeting inspiration. It occurs as the result of intentional habits practiced consistently over time. It is the cumulative effect of small, conscious actions that, when compounded day after day, create profound change in our lives. One of the most important insights about transformation is understanding that it is a process, not an event. People often wait for external circumstances to spark change, waiting for the right opportunity, the perfect moment, or a sudden burst of motivation. But these external triggers are unreliable and unpredictable. Intentional habits, on the other hand, give us control over our growth. They are actions we choose deliberately, grounded in purpose and aligned with our goals and values. By practicing these habits daily, we create momentum that steadily moves us toward the person we want to become, regardless of luck, talent, or circumstance. Consider the power of small, consistent actions. Drinking a glass of water each morning, committing to 5 minutes of reflection, writing down your goals, or dedicating 10 minutes to skill development may seem trivial when looked at in isolation. Yet these small actions accumulate over time, compounding like interest in a bank account. One day, months or years later, the results of these repeated actions become visible and undeniable. What once seemed insignificant has quietly reshaped your habits, your mindset, and your capabilities, producing outcomes that appear extraordinary from the outside. Intentional habits also create structure and focus. Transformation requires clarity about what matters most, and consistent practice ensures that our daily actions reflect our priorities. Without intentionality, we drift. Life pulls us in different directions, distractions consume our energy, and progress becomes fragmented or inconsistent. Habits, consciously chosen and repeated, act as anchors. They guide our attention, reinforce our goals, and build the skills and resilience necessary for long-term growth. By embedding positive behaviors into our daily routine, we shape the trajectory of our lives in a deliberate and measurable way. Another critical aspect of transformation through habits is that it fosters patience and resilience. Change rarely follows a straight line. There are setbacks, plateaus, and moments of doubt, when we rely solely on motivation or seek dramatic breakthroughs, we are more likely to give up at the first obstacle. Consistent habits, however, provide stability. They remind us that transformation is incremental and that progress is not always immediately visible. By continuing the practice day after day, even when results are not yet apparent, we build discipline and perseverance, qualities that are far more important for long-term success than sudden bursts of effort. Intentional habits also serve as feedback mechanisms. As we practice them, we gain insight into what works and wasn't, allowing us to refine our approach. This iterative process, taking action, reflecting, adjusting, and continuing, creates a cycle of continuous improvement. Transformation, therefore, is not about perfection from the start. It is about steady, informed progress toward our goals, guided by conscious, intentional actions. The concept of daily habits shaping transformation is evident in countless examples. Athletes, musicians, writers, and entrepreneurs rarely achieve excellence overnight. Their success is the product of repeated effort, structured routines, and deliberate practice performed consistently over time. What appears to be natural talent or sudden genius is often the visible result of years of small, intentional actions compounded into mastery. Similarly, in personal development, small daily choices about mindset, emotional regulation, or relationships accumulate to create profound shifts in character, resilience, and fulfillment. Ultimately, transformation is not about waiting for a life-altering event or relying on external forces. It is about recognizing that every day presents an opportunity to take small, purposeful actions that shape who we are and who we will become. The person you aspire to be is not a distant ideal. It is the sum of the habits you practice consistently, intentionally, and patiently. By embracing this truth, we move from wishing for change to creating it, from hoping for transformation to living it, one deliberate action at a time. As we reflect on the principles we've discussed today, one truth becomes clear: transformation is not the result of luck, sudden breakthroughs, or innate talent. It is the outcome of deliberate choices, intentional actions, and habits practiced consistently over time. Daily habits shape who we are more than any external circumstance, and reflective practices like journaling give us clarity, awareness, and insight into our own growth. Small, consistent actions repeated day after day compound into extraordinary results, while self-reflection allows us to identify patterns, take responsibility, and ensure that our lives align with our deepest values. Ultimately, the life you dream of is not built overnight. It is built one conscious action, one intentional habit, and one day at a time. The question is no longer what could happen to you, but who you choose to become through the actions you take today. Each small decision, each habit you cultivate, and each moment of self-awareness is a building block toward the life you desire. If you commit to this process, to consistency, reflection, and intentional growth, transformation will not just be possible, it will be inevitable. Your life is being shaped every day, and by embracing these habits, you are taking the wheel, steering toward a future of purpose, fulfillment, and extraordinary results. The power to transform your life is in your hands, and it begins with the choices you make now.